Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Raven and today we're going to dive into my December wrap up and we're going to talk about my January hopefuls. Let's dive into it. So December was a pretty slow month for me, slow-ish. I only read about 4 books and I'm looking at my Fable app, and to start off December I read Torment by Dylan Page. That was a 4.5 read for me. I read the first book, the first Torment, like part 1 of Torment, in November. Loved it. I was like, I need to jump into part 2 like now. So I read part 2 in December. That was wonderful. My only gripe with the story was the age difference between the main female character and then the 2 male main characters. They could have been a lot closer in age. Like, that story could have been told, it could have had the same effect if they were closer in age. I think 6 years is a very long time. I think it was 6 years or 5 years. They could have been maybe 2 years apart or something like that. I know it was pivotal, especially given how young they were, like she was, and like how young he was when they first met. And I'm saying he because I don't want to give anything away. But it was a really, really good story. I love the way that Dylan Page tackled these types of issues and problems and traumas. Like, it was very beautifully done. The next book I read was Hopeless by Elsie Silver, which is the last book in the Chestnut Springs series, or Chestnut Hill series. I always forget it. I always get those two mixed up. But as usual, loved it. It was such a palate cleanser. It did exactly what I needed it to do for me. It was just so, like, I loved it. It was a really great conclusion to the entire series. That series in particular followed Bo and, oh my gosh, what is her name? That series follows Bo and Bailey, who were... They were perfect for each other. Again, another scenario where I do wish the age difference could have been a little different. Like, homie was 35 and she had just reached like 20 or 21, and or maybe she was 22, but like she could have been older. It had been 4 years since he'd last seen her, and like he had known her when she was just like turning into adulthood. I feel like they could have made her at least 20 years old or 21 years old when they had first met each other, and then maybe 4 years later when they met, then she's like 25 and he's 35. You know, something like that. Like, I don't know, like, I love reading stories with adults being actual adults. I don't really want to read a romance between an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old. To be honest, I'd much rather read something to do with a 21 and over year old type of thing. Like, I don't know. It's just a personal preference of mine. But next, I read Brimstone by Callie Hart, which is the second book in the Fae and Alchemy series. The first book was Quicksilver. I loved Quicksilver. I gave that 5 stars when I first read it. This book started off very good to me, right? Like, I got 35% of the way through. I'm loving it. I'm at my holiday party. I'm speaking with one of the partners, and she's like, Raven, have you read Brimstone yet? And I'm like, girl, I'm like in the middle of it. So far, I'm loving it. She was like, I'm 70% of the way through, and it's a dud for me. Like, it's dragging. And I was like, really? Like, the banter is great. Carrie is amazing as usual. Kingfisher is amazing. I was like, what do you mean? I got 50% of the way through, and I was like, chop, chop, let's go. Let's go. I got 65% of the way through. I'm like, this is dragging. Like, I need this to be done now. I got 75% of the way through. I was like, yep, this is about to be like a 3-star read for me, which a lot of people loved Brimstone. I know that's a disappointing rating, but it was not it for me. Then I got to the last, let's say, 150 pages, and I had already spoken to a friend of mine. I'll post her Instagram here, but I was talking to her on Instagram, and she said she didn't enjoy Brimstone, and I was like, girl, I feel like I'm on the same boat. Like, I'm not enjoying it at all. And then she said she was like really dreading finishing it because it wasn't good, but she just wanted to be done, and I was like, I feel that. So when I got to 100 pages left, I felt the exact same way. I was like, this is not it. It was going in circles. Like, how many times do I need to hear my mate, my mate, my mate? Like, it was very, very, very annoying. You see how annoying that was? That's how it felt reading it. All in all, it was a 2-star read for me. It was 2 stars. I was bored out of my mind. I was like, this could have been way better. I'm not gonna bash Callie Hart as an author because Shorty wrote a whole 650-page book. Who can do that? Like, unless you're a writer, unless you have the time, unless you have the vision, unless you are like, unless that's for you, unless you're able to do that, I love that for you. Kudos, that's wonderful. I can, however, critique the plot. Like, the plot could have been more fleshed out, and I don't know what the editors were thinking in terms of like pushing this along and like having it be as like popular as it is or as well loved. I think people genuinely love it because they are more into the romance aspect, not because of the plot. The plot was sincerely lacking for me. Like, there was a lot of drama, but like, why do you wait until the last 50 pages for there to be like drama, 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 action, action, action? Like, that's not great. Like, I don't understand. So I was not into it. It was 2 stars for me, and what solidified the 2 stars was the ending. A lot of people loved the ending, and they were like, oh my god, this is so good, cliffhanger, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was a cool ending, a cool cliffhanger, but why did it have to take the last, like, literally 2 chapters for me to be invested? No, I'm sorry. So it's debatable whether or not I'm going to read the 3rd book. We'll see. Then to close out December, I read Bonds of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. I thoroughly enjoyed Blood of Hercules. I thought it was good. I thought it was funny. Like, was it a masterpiece? No, but was it enjoyable? Absolutely. Like, it was a type of story that I really needed to read at the time so I can have a nice little giggle. And Jasmine Moss, she gave that. I actually saw her last year at a book signing in Barnes & Noble's on Union Square, and she was absolutely hilarious. She was such a beautiful, such a kind soul. Like, I'm so glad I got to meet her. I also got to meet Penn Cole, which is amazing, and I got I don't know if you can see, but I have some signed books over here. But I got to meet them, and it was such a delightful time. So going into Bonds of Hercules, I was curious to see what that wide shoes aspect was going to look like, and to see 2 of the chthonics or chthonics, I don't really know how you pronounce it, but 2 of them really falling in love with Alexis. I don't want to spoil it, but 2 of them really like finding themselves with Alexis, and their romance blossoming was so cute to me. The other 2, I also loved it because they do care for her sincerely, but the way that the book ended, I'm thinking the next book has to do with another individual that may get with one of the 2 other chthonics. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil it. I hope I haven't spoiled it, but yeah, no, it was so good. I gave that one 4 stars as well. Like, it was exactly what I needed. I loved it so much. Now let's go into my January hopefuls. This is my reading journal. Oh, my reading journal, Archer and Olive. But I put together a list here, and when I showed my sister, she was like, oh my god, you plan on reading all of those books? And I was like, no, not really. Like, maybe the first 4 I definitely do plan on reading because I'm already in the midst of reading them. But I was thinking of adding the others so that I can like kind of give myself a buffer, because I am a mood reader. If I'm not in the mood for it, I am not going to read it. And I also can acknowledge that it also has an impact in the ratings that I give books some of the time. So this is just giving myself options. So this is what I have here. I have my physical copies, and let's go through them. Oh no, there's a little tear. I don't know if you can see it, but whatever. Starting off, we have Your Knife, My Heart by K.M. Morinova. I am a K.M. Morinova stan. I love her writing. I love her dark romance novels. I first read The Fabric of Our Souls last year, and I thought it was so good. It was so beautiful. I had to get a physical copy. I actually think I might read that this year again because it was just so touching, so moving. It was beautiful. Oh, I also read Leave Me Behind, which is a part of the Dark Forces series, which this is also part of that series. However, this takes place 10 years before the events in Leave Me Behind. This book is the book club pick for a server that I'm in, and one of my friends who's the owner of the server, he gave me like free reign to do a book club, and so I gave everyone options and they chose this one. So far I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews on this. Some people are not into it. They say it's slow. Some people say it's a slow burn, but then it picks up later on. I'm interested to see what this one will look like. But before we move on, look at those sprayed edges. Like, okay, it's a knife and then a lighter. Like, I love it. It's so freaking cute, and it wraps all the way around. Now, this is what I want to see in an edition. You know what I mean? Next, we have Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I know I'm late. I know I'm late. I know it's not Christmas anymore. It's literally like several days, like the first week of January when I'm filming this. But I recently read this book. When this video comes out, I would have finished this book. And yeah, no, it was cute. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.75 stars. It was enjoyable. There were some things in this book that I was like kind of bored with in terms of like their romance, but I genuinely loved how like slow their romance was. What I thought was slow didn't have to do with the romance necessarily. I'm a sucker for a slow burn. This was really, really beautiful. I genuinely loved it. If you're into contemporary romance, this is for you. I'm not a contemporary romance person. As you can see, I'm a dark romance girly, but reading this one for the holiday season, it put me in the spirit of Christmas. The main female character, Harriet, she loves Christmas, and she has like these Christmas like rituals that she does, always carrying what are they, the peppermint canes. I'm so slow. She's always carrying the candy canes with her in her pocket, and she's like, on December 1st she has to have this particular muffin. Like, this was just cozy. It was cute. I enjoyed it. It took me a little longer to read it. I didn't quite like the ending of it, but as a contemporary romance, the first one that I read for this year, I enjoyed it. Next, we have My Friends by Frederick Backman, and this one is the book club pick for my office, like our Q4 book club pick, and I'm enjoying it so far. I have some tabs. I'm not that far in. I'm further than this part. I'm about 105 pages in, and while I feel like I'm kind of lost in terms of the plot, it feels like it goes back and forth a little bit in terms of like the main girl Louisa and like her involvement with 3 boys, 3 friends. I'm a little confused about that. Maybe it's because I'm also listening to it while reading, but then there are moments where I'm solely listening to it. I don't know if that plays a role in it, but I am a little confused. However, there are lines in this that, like, one-liners that I find chef's kiss. Like, I find it very, very beautiful. Let me see if I can give you an example of that. Okay. So there's a line that says that there's a speed at which a heart can beat that you can't remember when you've stopped being young. There is art that can be so beautiful that it makes a teenager too big for her body. There is a sort of happiness so overwhelming that it is almost unbearable. Your soul seems to kick its way through your bones. You can see a painting, and for a single moment of your life, just for a single breath, you can forget to be afraid. If you've ever experienced that, you know how it feels. If not, there probably isn't any way to explain it. I love that. Like, this book has to do with art and has to do with perception from like people that are less well off and people that are more wealthy, and how different people treasure art. I like that aspect of this book. I'm confused about the boys and Louisa's relationship. I don't know if it's one of those instances where she's literally inserting herself into the painting and like kind of conjuring what's actually going on, like creating her own narrative essentially. But I mean, there are moments in this book that are like genuinely beautiful, and as someone that grew up with an artistic background, my husband's an artist, I'm a dancer, I write, I also do some drawing every now and again. I can appreciate art, and so the perspective in which Louisa has for art, I think, is beautiful. I'm just a little lost. But then again, I'm only 105 pages in, so we'll see like how, like where this pans out. Then we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Oh, this was a favorite last year. So many influencers or content creators or whatever you want to call them that are in the book community or the book space on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube have read Red Rising, and they all loved it. They said that this story made them cry, and honestly, I could do with a good cry. I'm going to therapy and I'm learning to open up and I'm learning to just like feel my emotions, so I'm ready for that. I am. The same girl that I was talking about earlier, the Eerie Reader, she, and I'll put her here, she is going to pick up this book soon, and so she and I are gonna like share notes and everything, because I think we have pretty similar tastes in books, and I think we look for very similar things when it comes to books. So I can't wait to like jump into this and hurt. I can't wait. Then we have All Your Bloody Lies. Okay, first of all, look at that rack. I said that to my husband, and he was like, "You're no better than a man." And we had a good giggle over it, because I'm like, I'm flat chested, and I'm like, look at this. But it makes sense because she's a succubus. But this is a dark fantasy romance. I'm gonna call it a dark fantasy romance because it has to do with vampires and shifters, like bear shifters and wolf shifters. I'm about 70% of the way through, and this is very interesting. It gives the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. It gives that vibe in terms of a woman is not sort of, she is seeking revenge for these atrocious things that were done to her at one point in her life, as opposed to that where Lana is human but she's a fucking assassin and she's badass. This woman, she is also an assassin. Not really, actually. She's more so like a hit woman for herself. Like, she's obliterating everyone that has to do with what happened to her. And I just got to the part where she killed 2 of them, and she's a pretty dirty girl. And dirty in terms of not just sex, but dirty in terms of she is very innovative when it comes to torture. And and the main male character, vampire. And the main male character, vampire. And I'm like, he is black. So and yeah, I'm loving this one so far. This is on my list. Yeah, I'm loving this one so far. This week. This is on my list. We will see, and I really hope to finish. We will see, and I really hope to finish this week. This week meaning the first week of January. This week. This week meaning the first week of January. Okay, so that's it for my physical copies, and then obviously I have my ebook copy. In terms of other ebooks, I really want to read Cities of Lies and Legends by Kayla Edwards. That is the 3rd book. Yes, that's the 3rd book in the, that's it for my physical copies, and then obviously I have my ebook copy. In terms of other ebooks, I really want to read Cities of Lies and Legends by Kayla Edwards. That is the 3rd book. Yes, that's the 3rd book in the House of Devils series, and I really love book 1 and book 2. They were really good. City of Gods and Monsters, and then City of Souls and Sinners. Those 2 were really good. I enjoyed reading them, and I really, really, really want to pick this up. But the thing is, with these chunky books, it comes to a point where I feel like a little bit guilty that I'm spending so much time on one book. But you know what? 2026 is the year where I get over that, and I just fucking do the damn thing. So that's on my list. Another one that I plan on reading is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. I love C.G. Drews. That's hilarious for me to say because I only read 1 book by them, and that was Hazelthorn, which was my favorite book of last year. I read an ARC copy of Hazelthorn, and it was so, so beautiful. The way that it was told, it was just stunning, and I have no doubt that C.G. Drews also wrote, like, she wrote, or not she, I'm sorry, they wrote Don't Let the Forest In. They also wrote, like, another book that's a part of, like, that world or universe, and then another book that's coming out very soon, like, I think in February. I could be wrong about that one, but, oh, so, so, so good. I can't wait to read Don't Let the Forest In. Like, I think that might be like a definite for me to read this month. I want to read another Gothic horror. It is young adult, but what I love about C.G. Drew's writing is that the young adult doesn't feel young adult. Like, they're 17 years old. There is a gay romance, but it doesn't feel like it. Like, it feels so poetic in nature. Like, it's beautiful. Next, we have The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole. The Book of Azrael is a part of the Gods and Monsters series, I think it's called. And I've heard so many great things about this series, so I really want to pick it up and see what the hype is all about, truthfully. And then the last two books that I plan on reading this month are arcs. One of them is Hallowed Be Thy Name by Brooke Winters. I follow her on Instagram. She's a dope person. I'm part of her community on Instagram, and she's genuinely really sweet, but she has this like really gothic, dark, like quasi-religious type of novel, Hallowed Be Thy Name, as the title would suggest, but I think it does some deconstructing of religion and of the goth culture. Like, I'm so excited to read this. I have heard good things about it from people that have already read it. I have an arc for this one, as I said, so I'm gonna dive into that for sure this month. The release date is February 20th, 2026, so I hope to finish that well before then and give my thoughts and reviews on that, so you guys can pick it up and read it in anticipation for the release. And the last book is an arc as well. It is called It Came from the Floodwaters by Sean Barber. Sean Barber is a horror author that I also follow on Instagram, and he reached out to me and asked me if I can read an arc of this book, and I'm so excited. This one comes out later. It comes out in March 13th, 2026, and what I love, it's coming out on Friday the 13th in March. Hello. Like, can a horror author do any better? So those are the several books that I think that's like 10 books. Those are the 10 books that I plan on reading this month. So far, it's been going pretty well. We are literally like the first week into... Sorry about that, y'all. My my camera died. So what I meant to say at the end of the video was... Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below any books that you've read that was on your December wrap up, or any books that you plan on reading for your January TBR. Until next time.